Hello and welcome to a special podcast to celebrate women in engineering here at Chelton. We are here to shine a spotlight on some of the amazing women we work with here and to celebrate Women in Engineering Day, which is on the 23rd of June this year. Let's start with some introductions. My name is Emma and I'm the HR advisor at Chelton and I'll be your host today. Let's go around the room to introduce the engineers, starting with Fiona.
Hi, I'm Fiona Bruce. I'm Chief Antennas Engineer. Only just joined, or started that role. I currently transitioning from my old role into the new role at the moment, so I'm still carrying on some project work, but I'm starting to take on the Chief Engineer role, which is overseeing all of the development projects that are going on. I'm helping with recruitment, university engagements, hopefully some school engagements as well. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Sonali Kulkarni. I am basically a mechanical engineer, so I'm a chartered engineer. I also have joined Chelton recently, just 4 months back in January, and I've joined Nitrojukes as a systems verification lead. So my role is to develop a strategy for verification for the Nitrojuke systems for air and mass ref. So that's me. It's just still trying to get things around, lots of things in China. So that's it really.
Hello, I'm Elena Patterson. I work in development model shop. We develop prototypes. I've joined the company 3 years ago as apprentice, and that was the quickest jump probably ever. A year into my contract, I took on the full position, applied and got it.
Working my way through.
I'm Tony. I've been here probably about 2 years. I also work in the model shop, building like the development models, like Elena said. I've been in engineering a little bit longer. This is the first time I've actually been able to progress, I think.
So that's nice. You've got that progression. Yeah, perfect. What is it that first interested all of you in engineering? What made you want to work in engineering? How old were you? Who was it that inspired you, or what did you see that made you think, oh, that's what I want to do?
Well, I kind of fell into it. I always wanted to be hands-on. My whole family encouraged it, but I applied for a mechanical maintenance apprenticeship and didn't have a clue what it was.
Okay.
So managed to get through all the tests, did the job for 3 years, and that kind of just pushed me into the world of engineering. It was quite fun.
Yeah, as I said, have you enjoyed it since?
Oh yeah, massively. I don't think I could go back to a non-engineering job now, to be honest.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I need to know how things work.
Yeah. Nice.
I started taking things apart probably mostly when I was about 25 and tried to have a go at soldering. So my brother is a mechanic, so kind of hang around a lot of time just holding up a light or just anything needs to pass the tool. So just started taking things apart and really wanted to learn about it. And when children grew a little bit bigger, I put myself through college. I was 35, I think. I went to college.
So was that the first time you started getting into engineering at 35?
Yes.
What did you do before?
Well, I was Ofsted registered childminder.
Oh, okay.
And before that, just did various jobs in the cafes.
So quite a career change.
Yes, but because of the children, I've got 3 children. So because of the children, you kind of put it on hold, and I chose to stay at home and wait until they grow a little bit older. But plus, I was kind of afraid of the maths and going to college, so it was really quite a scary step to take. So I had to take extra exams because I never studied in England. So
That's actually very inspiring, to be honest. It's definitely like changing career at that.
Yeah, I thought I went into this engineering college, ATG in Aylesbury, and I seen all the machinery and they had the robots there and everything. I got so excited. I was like applying straight away. So yeah, that was definitely.
It must be really nice though when you go somewhere and you get that inspiration and then you're like, right, that's what I want to learn.
It's been long period of time, like kind of felt like waiting. Your mother, so you want sort of not allowed to, but you didn't have time for anything else.
Yeah.
So.
It's all about your priorities, isn't it?
Yeah. I have young children as well, but I can't imagine like doing a full career change at this stage. But yeah, I always knew that I'll be in STEM when back in probably primary, secondary. So that goes really long back.
Yeah.
But I didn't know exactly engineering till quite later, like probably A plus. That's when I started thinking. I'm the first engineer in my family, so I didn't had any role models or to go and discuss like what's it like to be an engineer. But probably with the discussion with my friends who had more clarity on what they wanted to do, that's when I started thinking, okay, this could be the. But yeah, I think that's how I fell into engineering as well. Kind of
So it's kind of
yeah,
school, but further education, I guess.
Yeah, first of all, schooling and then trying to see what I mean, physics always fascinated me, and I didn't mind maths, so that's what's kind of natural for me to think about STEM. But yeah, mechanical engineering just kind of happened a bit accidentally.
Seems the way we can.
Was it encouraged in your culture, or was it more difficult? Did you feel there's barriers to overcome?
There were barriers, but in general, in my culture, the education is considered very high, and people are encouraged, men and women, more men than women. But in my family, I was kind of lucky that there was no distinction like that. So it was up to me, really, what I wanted to do. So I just got a support from my family. They didn't say, okay, you're not going to be able to look after family if you go to this area.
Yeah.
There was nothing like that, so that helped.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I think it's good to have, like, as you mentioned it as well, like having your family's backing on something that you have that passion about, because it does make the difference of actually how much, if you've got that support, it pushes you to do even more, I suppose.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you feel like you can do anything, really.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to be a tree surgeon, I'll be a tree surgeon. That was my career option.
Oh,
yeah. When you do the career test at school, they were like, oh, you like being outside and you like the woods. Tree surgery.
So you went completely that note.
Yeah, no, I don't like heights. It seemed like a bad idea.
I guess for me, I was always good at science at school. In particular, I enjoyed physics. Not so much maths, but it's a kind of means to an end. My older brother did an apprenticeship in aircraft avionics, and I guess through listening to what he was doing, I thought it sounded really interesting, and that's really why when I was the first person in my immediate family that went to university, so I studied physics and then got into RF engineering through that route. So I did a master's after my first degree. And I was lucky in that it was where we did 6 months of it in uni and a 6-month placement in industry, which was.
Does that make a massive difference? Having that
huge.
placement? Yeah.
Just, I guess it gives you that step change from the academic side into actually hands-on engineering.
Yeah. And I suppose it's quite a difference when you're sitting putting it on paper and then really putting it into practice and having to fully understand all the concepts.
I think the university part of it is just the groundwork.
Yeah.
That shows you've got maybe some aptitude to do the real job, but you learn everything in the job. Yeah. So how long have I been doing engineering now? From the age of 21, I'm now 53. So
you've got all the experience.
Yeah, and a lot of that, starting off in doing military components, and then I did quite a stint in high volume manufacturing, and then moved here. So yeah,
so you've got you've been in a few different departments to see the flow of it, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of been in the design aspect of engineering all the way through, and RF. Bit of active electronics, and now into antennas for the last 15 years, which is the length of time I've been here. Since last week.
And it's really interesting, like, to hear what inspires people and how you kind of got into your roles or fell into them or however it happens. So for in terms of like the subjects at school that you've got to do, or at college, if you started after school or whatever it might be, was it easy to kind of get into that? If you've done any courses or anything, was it easy to get into the course, or did you have to pass specific subjects or exams first to be able to do it?
Well, I had to take tests because I didn't supply any certificate, because that meaning you have to get them from the Asian Institute
Yeah.
to bring them here, translate, certify. So it was a bit of pain. So I took the tests in college. So they test you on maths, ICT, and English.
Okay.
So just to determine what level you are at, and as you as I went on to a higher level, I had to take exams, say level 2. So I'll be doing level 3 in college. I would have to take level 2 of basic maths, English, and so I sat quite a few exams to be able to do that. But I believe they might have scrapped that now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That might have changed anyway.
Yes, so they're saying now even GCSEs and A levels actually have expiration dates, so it makes it more difficult for people to.
So does that mean potentially people
They
would
have
have
to
to do the
take-
exams anyway,
yeah.
even if they've done them in the past? Oh, that's interesting to know.
Terrifying.
I was
Yeah.
going to say.
Sounds like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Just about scraping through mine, I think.
But did you know already that which exam to give to get into this area? So or you had to do
So
whatever research?
I went to college on the opening day, ATG in Aylesbury, which no longer exists.
Very well kitted out there, I must admit.
Oh, they were really well kitted out, and I think they no longer exist because apparently there's no demand.
Okay.
So yes, it's been consumed by bigger colleges.
Mine is a bit more traditional route, like A levels, then university, go through the proper bachelor's degree, 4 years of grueling study, and then I came here. I did a couple of years of job. Came here from India to the UK, joined a company, another company stayed there, and then during that time I did my masters. So I didn't have the money to do the masters because it's very expensive in this country to do the masters. I've realized that. So I asked the company and they sponsored me. And yeah, that's how I did a masters in customer control.
Yeah, mine sounds the easiest, I'll be honest, because I just had to do an aptitude test and then pass an interview. Yeah, they offered us key skills as opposed to GCSEs, so I failed my English one miserably. So I had to go through that again, which wasn't as horrible as doing an actual exam. It was just, this is the subject. Can you write a descriptive writing piece about it? Which
So it's
is,
more to show your understanding of it, I guess.
yeah, it's pretty much to say I can read and write English. I just didn't do well in the exam. But yeah, the aptitude test was just a bit of paper. It was like, which spanner would be better at undoing this bolt, one that big or one that big. So it's just, yeah, sounds a lot less grueling than your routes, to be honest. Yeah, I think I got the
But
best,
very
best deal
practical.
there. Very practical, yeah,
practical.
very practical. They claimed that, what did they say? I had zero spatial awareness but a very technical mind, so they were willing to nurture me in that side, in that aspect.
So if you had to give advice to the young people of today who are trying to succeed in a STEM role, what advice would you give them?
As horrible as it is, try to do maths. It's unreal how much engineering actually relies on maths.
Would you say maths would be used more than kind of physics, or?
I think probably
Oh,
depending on, I think a bit of both.
Yeah, because
Maybe depending on what role it is specific, or?
Yeah, but now you get all calculators for everything. You just type in the detail, it comes out, oh yeah, value of this component such and such.
it's
It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, you still kind of have to know how to apply them all.
yeah.
Yes. I think from my perspective, doing physics is actually a really good kind of catch-all for engineering in general, because although my specialty is RF and antennas now, I still use some of the stuff that I learned in physics for the mechanical aspects.
Yeah,
It gives you
yeah.
a really good kind of overall view of the whole engineering process. I think the one thing I would say is like there's obviously the academic side of it, but there's also practical things as well, and you know, getting involved in like, you know, building things in your shed or you know, servicing your bike. All of these practical aspects are really useful.
Yeah, I must admit, because my dad was a car mechanic, and it does help a lot just sort of sitting there from the age of 5 years old and be like, can you pass me this spanner, can you pass me this screwdriver, and just kind of learn how things go together in like a nice methodic way, and occasionally break the cars back. We won't talk about that bit.
Yeah, I think the practical aspects are, you know, I think any good engineer has that mixture of, you know, the kind of the theory and the practical aspects.
And
Because there's a
common
lot of
sense.
it.
A lot of common sense.
A lot of it is common
So
sense.
underrated, but so needed.
So, yeah.
But I agree with like Fiona when you said practical skills, because it's more like don't get scared to take a spanner in your hand. You know, if there is a leak somewhere, you can go and try and fix it. You don't really have to wait for someone else to, you know, come, or you know, ask your brothers or father to come and you know, just get in and try if you can do it really. But that's just like a practical fixing sort of aspect. But academically, I think I would say, like as you say, physics is more dominating. And if you are like average in maths, and if you don't mind doing it, you're not afraid of it, but it's not something you enjoy quite a bit, you can still go to engineering. And there is quite a varied sort of job roles nowadays where you probably need some minimal maths and as long as you have understanding of logics and common sense. So it's I would say not to be afraid of exploring it as an option.
That's the main thing, really, isn't it? Don't be afraid, because engineering can seem quite daunting, especially at a young age. I think there's such a diverse. Well, there's just no one set piece of engineering. It's kind of like you can decide quite early on: do I want to do mechanical? Do I want to do electrical or electronics? And then inside there is another little group of, or what mechanical thing do I want to do, or what electronics thing do I want to do? And then it's another subset. It can be very daunting. So it's just find what you enjoy, find what you're good at, and then go with it.
When I was looking for college to start at 35, and I called up a few places and I did this engineering course, and the times and everything wasn't a problem, but the tutor was kept kind of asking me, are you sure you'd be okay doing this? Do you know, it's all in the class, it's all boys, and they're all like around 18, 19. Are you sure you're going to be doing, like, you okay doing this? So it kind of was off-putting, so I didn't go with that college. So anybody who kind of challenge you on or assume that you are not okay with this. It was off-putting for me. That's why I didn't go there.
I said, you went to a different college at the end.
No, but the other college, we used to have, I believe we had the same tutor, Barrett.
Yes,
Richard Barrett, and he was the older generation. He used to fit antennas on the roofs when the first TV come out, first channel come out. And he was amazing. He was just like, he used to say to us, like, how do you eat the elephant? You eat it in small chunks, like you divide it. And he used to say, don't jump off, don't get upset and jump off a fireplace. Basically, don't stress out. You will understand. The level that you start learning at, you never understand until the next level you go into. So that was really reassuring and actually really true, because you might not understand. You go in and you're like, what is this? But next year you'll be like, oh, it just suddenly clicks together. So you've learned something and you can apply it now.
And I suppose it's that thing of, you get something that you look at it and in one big chunk, like you say, it looks daunting, but actually if you break that down into smaller pieces, you can understand it and make it manageable for yourself and learn it, I suppose, easier.
And to be honest, you do get those sort of unhelpful comments or questions during your career, your academics. That are you sure you just not wasting a seat in engineering when someone else could have been like doing a especially in mechanical engineering. We were like 8 girls in a class of 67 students at that time. But the thing is, I remember like going on a workshop on the second year, which was a welding workshop, and I realized that we need as much help as the other boys in the team needs. So it's not different. We are still need to ask same questions and still need a similar sort of help. It's just the mindset of I can do welding as well, like any other boy. So it's just,
I think it's one of those subjects, I suppose is set in its ways from kind of like older generations that I suppose it's seen as more of like a man's job, but actually more and more it's like actually anyone can do anything that they want, whether it's seen as something that's a man's job or a woman's job. It doesn't actually matter anymore. So I suppose it's just making younger generations realise.
I was the only woman on both my physics course and my masters.
Really?
It's a very, very male-dominated area, and I was
Does
the only
that
girl
drive you
in.
to succeed?
Oh,
To be like, right, they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, massively, because I think, well, I'm going to assume we all have quite a competitive edge anyway. So then you see, like, especially for me in the apprenticeship, the boys would kind of be like, well, we're naturally good at this, we're boys. And it's like, all right, I'm going to show you different now.
Yeah.
And I have to show you different. So, you just immediately want to go that little bit further than they can.
Just like push yourself a little bit more just to show them.
I get really annoyed when the boys can do it better than me. So I'm kind of really determined. It's definitely there. Just competitiveness. Just like I might take some things I can do quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Some things it might take longer, but I will get there. So just determination, really, just to succeed.
Yeah. What have been your biggest obstacles or challenges in your career so far?
That's difficult.
Yeah, that's a thinker.
Can have a big list actually. Just picking one out of that is a difficult.
I suppose for me, getting back into engineering after leaving for a while, because I left to essentially become a stay-at-home mum for a few years, and engineering moves so fast.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I need to get back into this, but where? How do I get back into it? So I bounced around a couple of jobs before coming here, which just kind of gave me a foundation again of where engineering is and what I need to actually be focusing on to get back.
Did you find that when you came back you had to do any refreshers or courses or anything to kind of get back onto where it had evolved in that time?
Yeah, so one of the jobs I did the first year of the level 3, and circumstances when I couldn't finish it. But it helped kind of get me into suede shop. I think I worked at suede shop after that. It helped me get there, and then I'll be honest, got a little bit bored of bending pipes, so I was like, decided I want to do something else. I think my sister mentioned Chelton. And one of my friends works downstairs who I worked with previously, so he was like, you're wasted where you are, just come here. And thankfully they're sponsoring me to actually complete my college courses now.
That's really good. And it's good that obviously, you've got that support with sponsorship of memberships, fees or courses to help you develop and continue learning.
I think they're quite keen on progressing a lot of us now.
So I think as a mum, the biggest challenge is the time. It's finding time to actually do something, because the minute you in the house, there's always 1,000 things to do, and your attention required everywhere. So time was the first one for me. Was a little bit language as well, because I came into England when I was 19, so just learning myself language and doing technical like maths and stuff. It was a little bit challenging. And I did go on a few interviews, and I think I did find that Chelton was really kind of welcoming. So they didn't see you as a woman coming through. They saw you as an opportunity to give you work and to actually welcome you in the team. So that was really good.
Yeah, that's really
There's
nice.
few interviews before, and you go in, and there's usually typically older generation, and I look at you and I go like, oh, we go in the muddy field and we installing this and we drilling the walls, and I was like, I can do that, and you just like, oh yeah, like you get the eyes rolled, and you don't get the job, but
Yeah.
coming in and actually being welcomed to say what you can do.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's interesting that that's one of the biggest obstacles is just literally the fact
Just
that
getting in.
you're a female.
Yeah, just getting
Yeah.
in through the door, and that's why at 35 I applied for apprenticeship,
Yeah.
because the money is not what you should be getting at 35.
Yeah.
And there's not enough to support family, but I did just a way of getting through the door and starting your career, and then I did prove myself, and I feel like there's room for progression, so hopefully just company provides opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what she just said, like time things,
Yeah.
and also the fact that people sometimes don't believe you, as you just said, that
Oh, okay.
you can do it even though you.
So it's almost like you've really got to prove yourself.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
prove a bit more than what your male counterpart would typically prove. You know, there if you have got like X years of experience, he's already trusted. Say, you know, it's 10 years of experience already trusted. You have got a 10 years of experience. You still have to come and prove that you can do it. So you know that sort of things can put you off. And but what you really need to do is take your mind off it and focus on the creative bits.
Yeah. I suppose you can't let that put a dampener on things, because otherwise you wouldn't be in your roles today if you'd have let that affect you.
And you can imagine that 30 odd years ago, things were probably not as good as they are now.
Yeah.
So my biggest challenge, I remember in my first job, was that I walk in there as a young 5'2" woman, getting people to take you seriously, very, very difficult. I had one production manager who, for whatever reason, would not talk directly to me, but would talk through my supervisor. And I think I got to the point where I just confronted him about it. But it was I felt at the time I was really nervous about doing that.
Yeah.
But once I did that, I think things started to change. It took quite a while, but it was hard, my first job.
Yeah. Especially to have the confidence to speak up when it is your first job and you're younger.
I guess through that experience though, it's built my confidence dealing with that, and it's probably one of the reasons where I am today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
I think you have to develop a bit of a thick skin, I suppose.
Yeah.
I studied in a small class of 8, and 7 of them were boys. So instead of running separate sewing and cooking class for me, I kind of was grouped with the boys. So we did early on at school, did woodwork and just cutting and wood turning, just did everything that boys did really. So just never was a problem for me, I guess. But in lots of schools, I'm from Belarus, so in schools even now there's a separation. There will be like girls doing sewing, cooking, like all the kind of chores related to a woman's life, and I'm not kidding, it's just the way it is.
When I was at school, sewing
Really?
for me,
Yeah, so I think it is changing, but maybe it will take a little bit longer for girls to feel that they can just do anything the boys do.
Yeah. Obviously, we've spoken about young people and what they kind of might need to know if they wanted to get into the world of engineering. So apart from school and exams and that side of things, which we've kind of discussed, if they didn't have that access and they were kind of looking online or trying to find the right books to read or the right resources, where's the best places that you think that they could go to find what they need to point to get them to the right course or to get them in the right place with the knowledge.
I think that's quite good actually right now, because there is so much of free stuff that is available. It wasn't like that before when I started back my engineering.
Yeah.
But right now you can pretty much there are websites like Khan Academy, which I really even whenever I need to know about some concept, I actually go and watch those. And there's lots of videos like playlists in YouTube about specific subjects. You could just Google mech engineering and it will show you, what sort of variety of jobs you could do. So it's pretty good with the internet. That's I think.
Yeah, you get free books.
Oh yeah,
And
free
it's,
books.
So shortcuts for all the studies that you do. There's
Is
lots
that all
of
on the internet?
yeah, everything. So if you knew where to look, or if you persistent enough in the search, you'll find there's lots of aids that you can get.
Yeah, I mean, and YouTube, especially like you were saying, YouTube has made engineering seem so fun now.
Okay.
Because you've got there's I can't remember their names, which is really bad.
Well, it is fun.
No,
What they're blowing up stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But they, like YouTube has allowed these videos to come about, whereas like I think when I was younger, engineering seemed like a very serious job, and it was all old men in a room thinking very hard about how to make something better, and that's what my portrayal of it was when I was young. But now there's a bloke on the internet who literally makes YouTube videos about blowing electrical components up. And then a capacitor blowing up is exciting. There's another bloke that he made the fastest mobility carriage. He's made the fastest scooter by putting a jet engine on it. He's made a full 360 degree swing in his garden. There's just
and
so much fun
it show
stuff
the
on
whole
there.
journey of it? So you kind of understand how he's done it.
I mean, he's even when he was making the jet engine, he even did a video of like what not to do safety wise, because he had quite a horrific burn on his hand, which his wife was not pleased about. But yeah, he'll even drill down into that and be like, "I'm an idiot because I do it in my shed. Watch me be an idiot, and then do it safely. Talk to your teachers at school. Like go to these websites, go to these libraries and all that. Or maybe not so much libraries now. I don't know.
Yeah, there's lots of projects. I've got a few of my favorites where they use different components, say from microwave to make either scrambler or welder, or just there's quite a few things you can do with things that you find in the skip or
and I suppose that's the thing that would excite people, is having something that someone like me who's not in engineering would go, that just probably looks like junk, but someone like you, Paul, would be like, actually put that with that, you can make one of these and do this.
Oh yeah, that's the downside.
Yeah.
I've got a bench, I've got a whole setup actually at home. I'm quite sad, I love my tools. So it's a bit messy because I always kind of collect everything. I was like, oh yeah, you might need that board for something else. And
that's very my hands on.
It's good though, because it shows that shows that you've got that passion that you're even doing it in your spare time, like building things or.
Yeah, but that saves you lots of money as well. Yeah. If you get time, then I fix my own dishwasher, washing machine, dryers, fan, anything really, like sometimes a phone replacement screen, or just quite often it's just a little thing that you just need to solder or resolder, and we're good at that. So
yes, that's so useful though to have that skill set that you can just go, okay, my phone screen's broken, I know how to fix that, or you dishwasher, whatever it might be. Definitely a very useful skill. I wish I had.
And actually, there are a lot of videos now that made for kids, like, and sometimes I watch them rather than watching all the the same concept but taught by in an adult sort of sense, because so there's like cartoons with a Newton and his nice hairstyle and everything, and then explaining the laws of motion. And it's more fun than just like going through the equations of laws of motion. I think kids can now start with that and then see how fun it is.
They're teaching kids coding in school and that now as well. My son, he's seen me doing something on the computer for college and that, and he used to walk straight over and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing? What's it going to do to the computer and that?" And I'm like, well, "It's just going to make a graph." To be honest, it's quite boring, but it's nice to like to hear that even at the age of 7 in primary school, he's already been taught how to like make the man move across the screen kind of thing by inputting these commands and that. And so it's because IT was a choice at my school.
I was going to say, it wasn't really
We only had like one
computer.
computer, I think, when I was in school, and we just
Definitely
played the
changed a
game.
lot.
And our teacher used to read from a newspaper, I believe it was. She used to learn herself before she actually told us what
It
it
was
was.
really basic things, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like learning how to open this and close it again or something. Like just all things.
No,
but
well,
now-
it was draw a circle, so
Yeah.
you have command and you just give a coordinates
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and walking a man left, right.
You will be surprised that the first time I saw a computer was in secondary school. Didn't see it before that.
Yeah.
It wasn't there at all. In India, when I was like tier 2 sort of city.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fascinating to first time see that the big desktop.
Yeah.
Giant desktop.
It's kind of come full circle because I started off mine. You probably won't even remember this. A Commodore 64.
I've heard of that. I have a Spectrum in my laptop. It's
You
not
used
mine.
to get the
though.
magazines that told you how to kind of loop a sentence around the screen and write little programs. And then it did seem to kind of move away from that. Once you had the kind of Windows operating systems, it was more about how you navigate around that rather than actually writing some code. It's kind of nice to see it's come back.
Yeah. Well, I think
full
it's
circle.
going to be really important in engineering in the
Yeah.
future, to be honest, because especially now, robotics has moved on hugely in the last 20 years or so. So you kind of, it's no good just building the robot. You need to know how to make it do what you want it to.
So it's almost like part of STEM, but IT might even become a part of that STEM.
Programming, and that's what anybody choosing to go into engineering. Normally, Pearson is very general, like a BTEC. So the engineering, they give you subjects really general. So that's what we chose to go to different college, because they have a little bit more in depth, like programming, actually doing things that most of colleges won't do. So going through university course, it's usually better.
Just get that extra bit of detail.
Yeah, you do, because you have tutors, because they connect to university, they have to be a bit more knowledgeable, I guess, or level of detail they teach is a lot better.
Yeah, you usually find they've actually worked in the industry as well.
Okay.
Because
They've got that first-hand experience.
yeah, and it's easy. I think it's easier for them to teach you if they can be like, right, this is why you do this calculation, and if you don't do it, such and such can happen.
Yeah.
Like Richard Barrett, when we were at ATG, he's the first one that taught you could blow up a capacitor.
Yeah, it was amazing. He was.
He even said he brought out this massive thing from like the 70s and was like, I'm not going to blow this one up because it could potentially kill us all. But he was like, it's how you learn the correct way of connecting things.
It's learning what not to do as well as what to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, even knowing what to do, I still managed to blow up a few things.
It's always
and you're like,
those things
Just a tiny little spark and a puff of smoke. Oh, I did that one.
That horrible smell of burning plastic.
whatever you do not short capacitors. A way of discharging them.
Oh, and going back to the question as well, don't your parents aren't going to like it, but do not be afraid to take things apart. Just make sure you can put them back together.
Maybe ask permission first.
Yeah, ask permission, or just fish it out of the bin. That's what me and my brother used to do. It's what my partner does. He still does it to this day. Well, they've put a computer in the bin. Let's take it out and see what we can fix. Yeah, he's got untold amounts of cheap tablets just because people have put them in their skips. And he's got them all working though, so I can't really complain too much, I guess.
With your current roles, even all the past roles, Is there anything that you wish you knew about your job before starting it? Is there anything that's been a bit of a, not what you thought it would be, or a bit of a surprise, I suppose, as to how the role would be, or anything that you kind of thought in hindsight would have been good to know this before I was in the role?
If I would knew I'm gonna work in, say, fluid mechanics field more, or if I end up in Chelton with the more electronic side, I would have probably gone back and read that in a bit more detail. It's kind of get a bit too late at this stage, because then you have to manage your personal responsibilities, and then you have to catch up with all that gap in the knowledge at the same time. So so
I suppose it's just checking the full job spec of things and making sure that you have that, if you've got any knowledge gaps, you know where they are,
and then sort of perhaps do a bit more targeted readings and those sort of things rather than. But it's very difficult, I think, this one, because when you are learning, you don't know what you're going to work for.
Yeah.
Yes, it's difficult.
It's more of a trial and error, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, even when you're like going through school life, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 16 years old. I don't know how any 16-year-old does. Hence why I started as mechanical, and now I've fallen in love with electronics. And never thought I'd see the day where I turned around and was like, yeah, I want to look at this PCB and take it apart and then put it back together, or I want to do coding. I mean, my college project is going to be in an autonomous drone. And if you told my 16-year-old self that at the age of 33 you're going to be thinking about doing that, I probably would have laughed. Because it's just, it feels like an alien concept when you first look into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. Just maybe try a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then, like I said before, see what you like, see what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Especially,
I suppose for people that might be doing GCSEs or A-levels, they maybe could look at summer placements to be able to get that, try a little bit of what, see what it is that you enjoy more.
I would definitely go back and reevaluate what I did for work experience.
Yeah.
Because I liked PE, so I was like, I'll just go to a gym because that'd be fun for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But looking back at it, I'd be like, actually, no, I think I would have looked around and maybe sort out this place and been like, can you have someone in for 2 weeks? Obviously, I know sometimes the projects are a bit like you can't necessarily do it, but I probably would have looked.
It's always like asking, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I think for me, I think it's like, there's obviously kind of the core subjects you need to look at and stuff, but it shouldn't really kind of forget about the kind of extracurricular activities that you do. So things where you're doing team building, sort of building your confidence. For instance, I sound really geeky. I used to be in the debating society at school, and that built up my confidence quite a bit going into my first job, because I knew how to put an argument across, etc.
Yeah.
Those kind of extra things that all kind of build towards a more kind of rounded person when you do start.
Yeah. That's interesting. So what's been your biggest achievement in engineering in your career so far?
I met the man that held the land speed record.
Did you?
Yeah, he gave me my deeds. So when we completed our apprenticeship at HOV, they have a big ceremony for it because they're very American, bless them. So they have you get the roll up scroll with a ribbon around it. We all have a little cap and that to throw up in the air. Not that we actually got a degree out of it, but they really emphasised on it, and they'd bring in a guest speaker. He was doing a tour of local schools at the time. So they approached him and just said, "Would you like to talk to our now ex-apprentices about your Bloodhound project and like your land speed record on that?" So I've got still got the picture. I need to put it in a frame of me shaking his hand. But that's.
Yeah.
I suppose that'd be my biggest one.
No, that's a good one. Nice.
I think even getting to the level of H&D with the kids.
Yeah,
Definitely.
especially like starting at first time. It's not like you.
Just sometimes is admitting that you can't do something is actually victory. So just keep going.
Yeah. It's just that you can achieve it even with other things going on and other responsibilities.
There's always
Yeah.
life. There's never time. There's
There's never
always
the right
other-
moment.
Yeah,
is there?
there's never right moment. There's always challenges, and
Yeah.
just keep going.
Yeah.
Just try it. Just go for it.
Pays off.
And I think for me it's similar coming from India to a completely different country, different way of working culture, and then managing to get into one of the world's really good companies like Chelton and no one ideas that. And I think and I would have never thought that I would be here after so many years working in such companies. I think that's definitely I consider myself as an achievement.
Yeah, because it shows how you obviously worked hard to get to where you are. So it definitely, again, it's paid off, which is really good. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think for me, strangely, so I've worked on quite a few development projects, especially here in Chelton over the years, and I'm proud of what I've done there. But the thing that kind of sticks in my mind is that I spent a lot of time mentoring graduates and apprentices, and seeing them. Some of them are still here, doing really well.
Yeah.
And some have moved on to other jobs, but actually seeing the way they progress through their careers, it just gives me a nice warm feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm just really kind of almost like my children.
Yeah.
Set off out into the world. I do. I'm really pleased.
Yeah. And that's nice because obviously if you've had an input into helping them to learn or to understand something or, to do whether it's their role or the course or whatever it might be. Yeah, that is really good to see them then go on and succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
I think that's what is really nice about Chelton is giving us the opportunity to study day off, not off, but day off to go to college.
and when you come into work as well, Fiona's not experienced it from us yet because we've not pinned her down, but
We've got this to come.
we usually just, if we're struggling with something at college, we will definitely hunt down an engineer and be like, so remember doing this?
Well, they've all been there, they've all done it.
Yeah, and the nice thing is they're all willing to stop for a little bit and help. Obviously, we try not to interrupt them if they're really busy, but everyone is always willing to just stop and give us a little bit of a hand.
Yeah.
And like I was saying outside, sometimes it's a personal challenge for them. Just drop a question underneath them, and they feel they need to do it.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, as a way to help and to, I suppose, prove that they can still do something they might not have looked at for, anywhere between 5 and 20 years, I guess.
That's
So,
competitive side again, isn't
yeah.
it?
I think that's an engineer trait, to be honest.
But it's good that obviously they all support you and everyone will help and support each other, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's very, I'd say, I would almost say family oriented. It's very much like, you feel part of one big team.
Yeah.
And no, I wouldn't say anyone really feels massively secluded from it.
Yeah.
So, well, I certainly don't. So.
If you didn't work in engineering, what would you be doing?
I would probably still be doing something related to say probably a medic. I don't know. I mean, that's the second thing that fascinated me, how they what they do, how they treat people.
Yeah, and another hands-on thing as well.
Yeah, especially in COVID, and kind of it's like heroic, really, isn't it? The way that obviously a lot of them lost their jobs, but lost their lives, I suppose. But yeah, medic maybe.
Oh man.
It's quite admirable, that one. Yeah, no, my sister's a nurse, and I say to her all the time, it's like we both, our whole family has that caring streak, but we look at what my sister does, and we're just like, I couldn't do that.
No, yeah. You've got to have a lot of patience.
Massive amounts of patience. It's not even that, she said that, like, just the ability to carry on.
Yeah. The
with
resilience.
yourself. Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would work with animals.
But I would probably, I was working with children. But probably as a choice now, if I didn't work in engineering, I would probably do some sort of customer facing role.
Okay. Yeah.
So just working in a coffee shop is nothing wrong with that. Get all the food and also it's a communication, I think, with others.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, I worked in cafe before. I would do it again, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it was probably vet would have been the next on the list, because I was very much an animal person when I was
Yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
Horses,
I agree with you.
cats, dogs.
Anything with 4 legs really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would have been for me.
Yeah. What would you, if you worked with animals, is there anything specific?
I probably wouldn't have been a vet. Maybe a veterinary nurse or just anything. I even, while I was not working in engineering, I even considered just changing completely and seeing if I could get into stables and just become a groomsman. To be honest, just like I like horses. They're big and they're idiotic sometimes. And my mate tends to have crazy ones, so yeah, it's quite entertaining working with them. Yeah, I can't ride though. So yeah, they said that was a bit of an awkward one.
Yes, yeah.
Fall off a couple of times, I'll get back
You'll
up.
be fine.
Yeah.
Just got a helmet on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's that or maybe work in a pub because like you say, listening to people's just day-to-day
interaction.
stories and everything. You can't believe the fascinating people that can just walk into a cafe or a pub or anything.
Yeah.
You never know what someone's done.
Yeah. You meet some interesting people, definitely. Oh, interesting. So just to learn a little bit more about just you four. If you could do a job swap for a day with anyone else in Chelton, so any job role, what role would you pick and why?
Let's start with Fiona.
Interesting.
Because you higher than all of us. So let's hear it.
I'm going to pull rank and get you to answer. Well, I think about it.
You can take your time to think.
I would swap with Jason. I think he's just above all operations, so it'd be just interesting to know what's his day like.
Yeah.
I think that would give you quite a lot of insight on the company.
Yeah.
But like from engineering perspective, I'll probably swap with one of the designers. Yeah.
Interesting.
Only because they're hands-on and then just tinkering with stuff.
I would definitely like to swap with vice president engineering.
So you go for jobs role.
Yeah, I really the problem with mechanical engineering, you don't see a lot of women working at that sort of senior management level. I mean, I would like to swap a job with you as a chief engineer. I mean, you are working as a chief engineer, aren't you? So it's kind of another sort of a level of program, and then it's good to see someone like her to see working at that level. It's kind of motivates us.
Yeah.
So, but if you get someone like at a VP level for engineering, then I think that would be brilliant, isn't it?
And I suppose if you did a job swap for a day, then you can see like what you might need to do to get there yourself, or what else is involved, all of that sort of stuff.
I would hate presenting, and that's something that I wouldn't. It's a responsibility. You probably have to do that.
It's just confidence. It's about preparation and being prepared. That's the biggest part of that, because I never used to enjoy it. I don't care if you really enjoys it.
No, because
maybe some
sometimes
salespeople do.
some people come up and they're so natural, and then that's what crosses my mind. How can they be so confident in front of the crowd?
Yeah.
But that I think that a lot of people are not. There are very few people who are like natural and do an extent, but a lot of people do prepare and they go through a phase where they sort of acquire those skills. So a lot of the skills are acquired. So it's just a matter of getting the opportunities and you're putting, you are doing it a bit more often.
I've never been one that likes a presentation, but I will happily say I smashed the ones that I did in my apprenticeship, because, like you say, it's preparation and subject choice as well. I think is also another one.
But especially if it's something you're passionate about.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I mean, like you say, look at Dov when he does a presentation, he bounces on like a kid excited about his birthday present, doesn't he? So, yeah, and I agree with you. I'd probably swap with him for a day, or like to yourself, just to see what you guys get up to. And I'll probably run towards you at the end of the day and be like, please take back the meetings. Give me the hands on.
I guess thinking about it, if we were kind of keeping it within the company, the place probably I'd like to, I guess, get more experience of is actually on the shop floor where they're building stuff. Because I think as a designer, you tend to think that you're designing something that is fit to be made in production, but you don't often see the little details that cause the problems.
Yeah.
So having, some time down there actually building things and understanding it better, that probably would help, do a better job.
Yeah.
In the design side.
So we're all leaving with the new roles.
I'll see you all in those roles tomorrow.
And come through this at my desk and I'll fix the model.
I like my job.
Yeah, I must admit, I'd love to do it for a day, but I do not envy the amount of meetings that I imagine upper management will probably have to go to. Yeah. It's nice to just walk in and be like, right, today you're building this, absolutely fine. Someone else has thought of everything for me.
Within a minute.
Yeah. I mean, there's some projects that they're at such a young stage of their development that it's kind of, you get given almost a concept from the engineers, and it's like, how do I do this? And you have to just kind of build on it from there. Yeah, it's fascinating to see how it will grow from the initial concept all the way into production. And then even like you say, when it goes down into production, there's stuff that we in the model shop haven't thought about, none of the design team or the engineers thought about, and then someone down there will be like, well, there's a much bigger way of putting this together.
Yeah.
And it's...
I always think it's really good to have a day where you can shadow someone, so someone like I would like to just shadow you and see how you do it and see if it's something there's always something new to learn from someone else as well.
Yeah, I think they could do those days kind of a good idea, isn't it? Just to, sometimes I use my braids and pick Colin's brain. And kind of like, how do you do this? What do you what are you testing?
So I suppose it's that constant learning then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I guess it's understanding what other people are doing or what problems they're facing on a day-to-day basis, because sometimes you don't see the things they're dealing with and you're thinking, why haven't they done this for me?
Yeah.
And then you kind of see what they're dealing with. Then a bit more understanding across the board.
To finish up the last discussion question, so sum up working in engineering in 5 words or less if you can. Bit of a challenge for your last
5 words or less.
Yeah.
I would say cool, fun, and great sense of achievement if you can get into the area you like.
Yeah.
More than 5 words.
Sum up. Maybe 10 words or less.
I would say it's interesting, challenging, and it's challenging the established norms and bring your own creativity. Sorry, more than 5 words.
Maybe let's just sum up working.
Just
Don't worry about the 5 words.
Yeah, no, I mean, same lines as you two. Just interesting, innovative, challenging, stressful at times, but always fun. Always fun to be in engineering.
I have to think of some different words.
Yeah.
Variety, that's a good one.
Stressful?
That goes in it depends. Some stress is healthy. Variety, definitely. That's why I've been in the job so long.
Yeah.
Interesting again, challenging again. sense of team, I think, is a big thing, and I think we've got that in spades here at Chelton.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we've all talked about how we all help each other out, and I think that's what keeps people here. A lot of the time is just having that framework, that team support network around you.
Yeah.
I would say we all seem pretty happy in our roles and like, what we're working on.
Yeah.
Exciting, that's another one.
It's a good one.
Good word. Yeah, there's obviously lots of different elements of engineering to get involved in and different projects and pieces of work. So yeah, I can understand when you're using words like interesting, exciting, variety. Yeah, no, definitely.
I think the thing about engineering is you can keep learning until the last day of your retirement. And even on the last day, there will be something new you probably would learn, and that sense of like you don't know a lot of things and there's still a lot of things to learn, and it just keeps you going really.
It's like constantly evolving.
I've got 5 words now.
Go on then.
Every day is a school day.
Yes. I think that sounds
That came from what you said. But that's the 5 words.
I think it's important to remember that we're part of progress. We are making this, say, 10, 20 years down the line. They're already talking about antennas, putting them in smaller packages and using on different technology. And technology is always evolving. So we are part of this development and in this time. So maybe one day we will look back and probably, we did this.
Do you find that because of obviously a lot of talk about climate change and changing, not using certain plastics or certain materials, has that had a knock-on effect to anything you've got to do if you had to change materials of things, or is it something that maybe isn't impacted?
I think that's a difficult one, really.
Yes, because the shortage of components largely due to shortage of materials, silica, and I think is affecting everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's something we definitely have to probably look into as well. I mean, like you say, with the demand, the awareness going up of what we've done to our environment, it's with the perfect sort of workforce to think about these ways of combating it and
kind of future-proofing.
the
designs.
Resources are not unlimited, so they're all running out. And in the older days, people used to fix a lot of things, and now it's just like buy and then throw away. So I think it's maybe not so much applicable to antennas in this industry because it's still, because of the price, I suppose, it gets fixed, doesn't it? So
Well, thank you all very much for your time today. It's been really insightful for me, definitely, and so hopefully it will be for everyone.
Thank you for arranging it. Actually,
thank you.
And then like meeting all this.
So it's nice to hear everyone's like origin stories and
And I think it's good because we've got, like, obviously you're all in different roles, so it's useful to have that cross information and how it all kind of pulls together. So
okay, we've got Fiona's role now. That's
you're all going to go into Fiona's role for a day. We've established.
Yes.
Excellent.